what the heck is going on over at Bungie and Marathon? Let's get into it. So Marathon is Bungie's return to one of their original IPs, which is set to release later this year in September. Unfortunately, it seems that the closer we get to the launch date, the worse news gets for Marathon. The recent Marathon closed alpha seemed to garner mixed results from players, most being lukewarm on the whole extraction shooter aspect and how, despite its visuals, didn't seem to offer anything unique that hadn't been seen in the genre. Unfortunately, the same artwork and visuals that were praised by players and fans alike have been found to be plagiarized. On Thursday last week, May 15th, the artist AntiReal posted on Twitter that the Marathon Alpha lifted assets from her work that she released in 2017. The evidence posted by the artist speaks for themselves as they're near one-to-one renditions. Going back, it appears that some of her designs she created were also copied and pasted without permission into the Marathon ARG that was released in April. Some fans actually pointed out that you can read her artist handle in one of the game assets. So not only was her work plagiarized, but it was done poorly. What's worse is that several artists, including Joseph Cross, their art director at Bungie, have been found to be following AntiReal during the development of Marathon. Now, Bungie responded to the allegations on Blue Sky stating, "We immediately investigated a concern regarding unauthorized use of artist decals in Marathon and confirmed that a former Bungie artist included these in a texture sheet that was ultimately used in-game. The issue was unknown by our existing art team and we are still reviewing how this oversight occurred. We take matters like this very seriously. We have reached out to AntiReal to discuss this issue and are committed to do right by the artist. As a matter of policy, we do not use the work of artists without their permission. To prevent similar issues in the future, we are conducting a thorough review of our in-game assets, specifically those done by the former Bungie artist, and are implementing stricter checks to document all artist contributions. We value the creativity and dedication of all artists who contribute to our games, and we are committed to doing right by them. Thank you for bringing this to our attention." Now, Bungie is blaming one unnamed artist for the plagiarism, and there's been no other update over the weekend. AntiReal did post to her original post thread to say, "I don't have the resources nor the energy to spare to pursue this legally, but I have lost count of the number of times a major company has deemed it easier to pay a designer to imitate or steal my work than write me an email. In 10 years, I have never made a consistent income from this work, and I am tired of designers from huge companies mood boarding and parasiting my designs while I struggle to make a living." Bungie should, at the very least, offer heavy compensation for AntiReal's work, since her designs are quite literally the entire identity of Marathon's aesthetic. Unfortunately, this isn't Bungie's first run-in with plagiarism, it's actually the fourth. Last year, Bungie admitted they used fan art when designing a Destiny 2 Nerf gun, only after they were called out by the original artist, Tofu Rabbit. The day after the Ace of Spades Nerf gun was released, Tofu posted irrefutable evidence that Bungie ripped off their design, and that design was actually commissioned back in 2015. A commission not for Bungie. Tofu was able to point out how nothing was altered on the design and even showed the details of how Bungie copy-pasted the whole design with exact brushstrokes and scratches in the same spots. This situation was resolved with Bungie releasing an almost identical statement to Tofu as they did with AntiReal, saying, "We've investigated this with our partner Nerf. We are currently in contact with the artists to make sure they are compensated and credited for their incredible artwork." Tofu followed up with a post thanking the public for helping spread the word and that Bungie and their CM had been incredibly kind and professional. No details on the compensation were revealed, but if the artist was happy with the conclusion, it was probably a fair resolution. Then, on October 2nd, 2024, last year, Matthew Kelsey Martineau filed a lawsuit against Bungie for lifting his writings for the story of Destiny's Red Legion. The lawsuit read, "The Red Legion forms the backbone for the entire storyline that unfolds in the infringement game of Destiny 2. Although Destiny 2 offers an immersive and thrilling gaming experience that keeps players on the edge of their seats, the game is based directly on Martineau's source work." The lawsuit listed hefty details on the story similarities of the Red War and Curse of Osiris, and Martineau demanded a trial by jury and damages for copyrights. A year later, there's been an update in this lawsuit. Bungie attempted to dismiss this case by sending in Destiny 2 gameplay videos from the Red War campaign, pages from the Destinypedia wiki, and an affidavit from game director Tyson Green. The argument with presenting these pieces was to show accurate reproductions of the accused video game campaigns, since the alleged plagiarized content had been vaulted so it could not be used as comparison. The affidavit from Green read that the Red War and Curse of Osiris couldn't be run because their outdated code doesn't work with Destiny 2's framework, which is why it's been vaulted. Martineau, rightfully, argued that the actual expansion should be used as evidence for comparison rather than pages from the Destiny wiki and game trailers. The court dismissed Bungie's motion to dismiss the case. The plaintiff has sufficiently alleged the elements of an action for a copyright infringement, said the court. Back in 2023, Bungie was under scrutiny for stealing another artist's designs for a cutscene in Destiny 2: The Final Shape. Julian Failona, otherwise known as Element J21, posted a Twitter thread on the exact asset that was taken from them and used in the cutscene. Fans were especially upset over this since the cutscene was a majorly important one to the lore. Streamer Zavala posted, "The cutscene where we find out the origin of one of the most important characters in Destiny history has plagiarism." Plagiarism. Failona was more than generous with Bungie, being excited that their artwork had been used for the game. But Bungie followed up and stated yet again that they were working with the artist to make things right. Bungie has reached out to Element J21 about the art piece from this week's cutscene and are planning to compensate and credit them for their work. We discovered that an external vendor that helped to create this cutscene mistakenly used this art as a reference, assuming it was official Bungie artwork. We are currently waiting to hear back from the artist to take the necessary steps to remedy this situation. Are you tired of me repeating that same phrase over and over again? Yeah, me too. But it doesn't stop there. 2021, Relay 314's fan art was used in the Witch Queen's trailer and, you guessed it, without permission. The art piece had been submitted to Bungie's fan art showcase, but instead showed up in an official game trailer without any credit or mention of Relay 314. Cosmo, the principal community manager at Bungie, posted a response to the situation. There was a mix-up when creating this post, and Relay 314's art was accidentally used. We have reached out to them and got permission to use their work and are now crediting them for this awesome community depiction of Xivu Arath. It's not known whether or not Relay got paid for their work, but it seems highly unlikely that they did. Bungie's repeated cases of plagiarism are just exhausting at this point. There hasn't been an update on the Marathon situation, but hopefully Bungie does make it right again with the artist. I don't understand why corporations can't just ask for permission or ask to work with that artist if they like their work that much. You would think that in the 4 times that this has happened, Bungie would learn to just go approach the artist or double check certain things. So we'll see how this all shakes out. But again, all we can hope for at the end of the day is that Bungie makes it right yet again.